Hey YouTube, it is League Turnover Day, and you can play Great League Halloween Cup again. So top teams from the past week are in my video earlier today. Or you can play uh, Master League. It's Master League Open. But if you're like me, I've got one Master League legendary Pokemon in Lugia. The rest are just non-legendary Pokemon. So what I did here is I brought up the top 20 non-legendary, non-mythical Pokemon. I'm going to go over why they're all ranked so high, and then I made 3 teams with non-legendary, non-mythical Pokemon if you want to play this league but don't have good Pokemon, don't have good legendary Pokemon. So um, it's kind of broken down to like 2 or 3 things. Let's just start with the Dragons. And the first one, Dragonite. So this is their ranking. You see the numbers item 4, 5, all the way to Avalugg, which is 59. That is the rankings in Master League Open, right? So even though there's a ton of legendaries in Master League, Dragonite, Shadow, and Dragonite are still 4 and 5. And that's because it's just such a strong Pokemon. So attack heavy. Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, super strong. Plus now coverage, superpower for the steals, right? So just being able to superpower all the steals is such a huge advantage here. It is on all 3 teams. No, maybe not all 3 teams, but essentially all 3 teams. It's so strong. Yeah. So if you don't have like a Dialga, you don't have other sort of like top dragons in this, I think Dragonite is probably one of the top ones. Um, Baxcalibur, Haxorus, Hydreigon, Garchomp, Como are the rest of the dragons on this list. And I think that, um, you know, I don't think there's a point of using Como if you have Dragonite, right? Same sort of idea, Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw with close combat. I just think Dragonite has more, uh, it's just harder hitting, quite honestly. So there's that. Garchomp, you're using it more as as a ground than you are as a dragon, right? Mud Shot, Earth Power, Outrage. You could use Dragon Tail, but the recommended moveset here on Garchomp is Mud Shot, Earth Power, right? So looking at going after those steals with some Dragon coverage for Outrage. So it's a decent Pokemon. Hydreigon, I've used it before. It's pretty glassy. I think you're coming in here basically because you are also half dark, and there are a lot of ghosts like Guillotine and stuff like this in this meta. So it makes you pretty okay there. It's kind of glassy. I don't love it. And then Haxorus as a counter user. So if you're trying to like trick, I guess, steals, you can get a Haxorus counter user off. And one thing I haven't covered yet is Baxcalibur. It's a nice Pokemon, and I was gonna do a 4th like ABB Dragon team, but I didn't because it would involve Metagross, which I think is also on like all the teams. So basically what you would do is, if you want to try that, you could use something like Metagross, Baxcalibur, Dragonite, where you safe swap Baxcalibur, draw out a fairy, but you have at least the Avalanche to throw at the fairies. Throw an Avalanche, you're still going to lose, but then your Metagross can punish that, and then your Dragonite can roam free. Ideally, that's how the team would work with Baxcalibur. I think just having the Avalanche is nice coverage in this meta, especially with a lot of flyers. Gyarados, I didn't cover. It's not a dragon, that's why. It's a water flying, but it's a water flying that goes with its Dragon Breath damage. Again, so Dragon Breath damage is just such a hard hitting move outside of like Steals and Fairy. Aqua Tail is a very quick, not hard hitting, but quick charge move. And then Crunch, again, nice coverage for Ghosts, Mewtwo, Giratina there. Florges, I finally built one up. One of my first teams that I'm so excited to use will have Florges on it. I mean, only has fairy moves, so why you would want to use the other fairies if you have them is Xerneas and blanking on the other fairy, sorry, have charge moves. Zacian have close combat and stuff like that to deal with the steals. Whereas opposed to Florges, you can only have fairy type moves. So if you see steals, you're in trouble. But outside of steals, you're going to hit everything for neutral, super effective, and getting that stab, Siren Voice or Moonblast on Florges is very, very hard hitting. So there's that. Mamoswine is, there's a couple ice on here. There's Avalugg. I don't think there's a point in using Avalugg if you have Mamoswine. Mamoswine is just such a hard hitter. I have talked about how it was a secret weapon in Open Great League for me when level 40 was a thing, because I used it constantly as an answer to like Dialga, because you could just go at the time in level 40 Powder Snow Avalanche 3 straight times, and now it has high horsepower, which is even better for steals. So super strong Pokemon with all the dragons in here. Plus it now has high horsepower, harder hitting ground move for all the steals. So definitely up there. Ursaluna, I have it on one of my teams. You know what? I have it on one of my teams. I've used it multiple times. I do not like it. It is very tanky. I just think that it does not hit hard. High horsepower, again, nice coverage move. Nice move in general, high horsepower for steals, and just hits pretty good in neutral situations. Ursaluna is tanky, but it does not hit super hard, so just keep that in mind. Where its pros and cons are, it's a half normal Pokemon. Half normal or full normal? I forget what its secondary typing is. I think it's normal ground. It's normal ground. So the normal will obviously wall ghosts, which is nice. But yeah, it's just an okay Pokemon. I've used it a few times. It's just every time I'm like, I think it's just the secondary move. If it had tackle, high horsepower, and like another hard hitting move, I think it would be great. The fact that it only has tackle, high horsepower, and then like an ice punch or thunder punch, I think it kind of limits it in the open match league where you really need those harder hitting moves against bulky Pokemon. Shadow Snorlax was, I don't think it still is, but it is in Premier one of the best safe swaps in the meta. Not as much anymore. And again, it comes down to, again, you're only normal typing, so you only really need to worry about fighters, which is not a ton in with open match league, and like darks because your lick is resisted. But now, once it gives Xerneas and Zacian super nuke fighting moves, it just lowers Snorlax's safe swap ability. So that's why it's gone down a bit. It's still decent. I haven't even talked. I can't believe Metagross is ranked 46. I think Metagross should be way higher than 46. You're an absolute punish to, the fairies. You are super strong against the dragons because most dragons will just have Dragon Breath fast move and you resist that. So I think it should be way higher. And you have Earthquake for steals. So I know why it's ranked like that, but I think quite honestly Metagross should be way higher, and it's on many of my teams here because it's just so strong. Rhyperior kind of glossed over. Mud Slap for steals, Breaking Sway for dragon, lowering the attack. Rock Wrecker, it's kind of like a hard hitting for flyer. So like it has some play. I think it's kind of niche, kind of fun, but I wouldn't like build around it. And when you get down to like Swampert and Golisopod, it's just like you can use them, but it's like, oh, you're not going to have a good time. So I'm not even going to bother covering them. But let's go into the teams, and I'm going to just start with a team that I will 100% use sometime this week. Florges, Dragonite, Metagross. I already gone over in previous videos how Dragonite and Metagross basically cover each other down the board, right? Because Dragonite just can have a real tough time against fairies and stuff like that, where Metagross will punish, and then Metagross have problem against ground and stuff like that, which Dragonite as a half flyer will punish. So really just strong combo there. And then Florges, look at Florges down the board. Again, there's not like what you're not seeing on this list because it's not ranked in the top 20 as Metagross. So like Metagross is obviously going to kill it. But outside of that, just neutral across the board. Some great wins against dragons. Stays in with pretty much anything, right? So that's why Florges, I just have it on the lead, and then hopefully you can win lead and then decide, because your back Pokemon theoretically should cover everything in the back one another. Go that way. So I'm really excited to use this team. Just in this past event, I caught all the Flabébés, so I now have a Florges built up that I am very excited to use. So I will be using that sometime this week. So if you see me in Match League, that's what I'm doing. Don't counter me. Okay, trying to get a little off the board here. I put in Gyarados and Mamoswine and then Metagross again. So Gyarados it's one of those things where it's like, it's ranked high because the Dragon Breath does so well in just neutral matchups. So again, no hard losses against anything here, but not a lot of wins. I think it's because like when you go to non-stab, and it's a bit glassy for the open match league, so non-stab Dragon Breath, and then you have like Aqua Tail and Crunch both don't hit hard, right? They're decent charging, but like don't hit super hard. So it's a lot of just like okay wins, mostly losses. So it's just kind of meh. Mamoswine, again, I put in Mamoswine because it has been so strong for me. I see a ton of wins, dragons, and there's your Dialga win that I talked about. Like just tons of flyers, tons of stuff that Mamoswine does well against. And I put in Mamoswine Metagross as a safe swap because again, fairies being able to resist Dragon Breath and then hit super effective for Mamoswine with the close combats and stuff is just kind of like, okay, fine, I'll have to cover them. So if you guys have a better idea of a non-legendary to cover these fairies, let me know. But right now I'm just using Metagross throughout to cover the fairy damage. And the last one is ABB style. But again, not a true ABB when all these fairies have fighting moves. But anyways, Shadow Snorlax on the... oh wait, sorry. It's Dragonite on the lead. I put the other two in first. Dragonite on the lead, like I said, beats most things. Safe swap either Snorlax or Ursaluna. Both do decent. Chip, try and draw out... I don't know. I mean, try and draw out a fighter, but like realistically, you may draw out a fairy too because those still beat you. So again, I'm not sold on this team, but it's an option. I'm just kind of showing you the matchups that Ursaluna and Snorlax have because I talked about them. And as you can see, they're kind of just like have some wins, but a lot of times it's just like, okay, you don't get killed in a lot of matchups, but you don't like, you're not winning a ton, right? So that's kind of the con with these two Pokemon. Anyways, that is it. Pickings are slim if you do not have legendary Pokemon. And for some reason, Niantic, everyone has been complaining online. It's like, hey, we know, okay, we've accepted Classic is not a thing anymore. Understand level 50 is the way to go for Ultra League and Master League. Understand that. You promised us Premier. And Premier means no legendaries. And for 3 seasons now, they've just ignored Premier. So you haven't had a chance to do Premier Master League. You haven't had a chance to do Premier Ultra League where there's no legendaries, because that would change up the meta significantly and make it more fun. Then your team build would be so different with these Pokemon. But you got a team build for the Open Master League, which is apparently the only thing that's on. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. Good luck grinding this week. Tomorrow, I mean, I'll have a Halloween team tomorrow morning. I'm at the Toronto Regionals tomorrow. So if you're around, say hi. And then I've got like a video in the afternoon of my team and how to like team build in a show 6 pick 3 format. So stay tuned that for tomorrow afternoon. Probably already eliminated by the time you watch that video, right? Because there's too many good people there. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. And then I'm going to try and vlog at Toronto so I can showcase that sometime next week as like a bonus video. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.